for that coverage on the ground. I do want to bring in another voice to this conversation now. We're joined by Eric Mandel, founder and director of the Middle East Political Information Network. Eric, great to see you as always. Now, we did see Iran's state-owned press TV laying out some 5 conditions, reportedly coming from the Iranians. Those include guaranteed war, reparations, guarantees to end and not restart the war, and also end the war against proxies. And also, Eric, this one stuck out to me, recognition of Tehran's legal right over the Strait of Hormuz. These are 5 conditions it seems difficult the United States would agree to. So what is the diplomatic outcome on the horizon here?
Okay. So first of all, I think the negotiations and what we're hearing is a lot of posturing and brinksmanship. I think the best thing from an American point of view, for the president maybe to have more leverage in negotiations is maybe the president should speak to the American people, to speak to Congress, and tell us what his objectives are and the reasons for this war, that we have core strategic reasons and interests to be in the Middle East, and how does this affect our national security? And it's the Iranians are saying they don't kind of trust us, that we've deceived them, we Americans, twice before the 2025 war and the February war this year. But it's kind of rich and hypocritical because the Islamic Republic has been deceiving and lying to America for 47 years regarding its nuclear program. The Iranian rejection can be also interpreted not only as an opening salvo in a negotiation, but that they think they can outlast and win a war of attrition against the president. America can win a war of attrition, but it will take America to be involved longer. And is our final goal for success here a regime change? Remember, regime collapse is not regime change, because we and Israel has given the Iranian people the best chance of regime change in 47 years. So there's every day you'll come back and ask me in an hour and things will have changed. The president would have done something different. But I think we need to all realize that we're at a very critical time. And with so many troops on the way, there's all different possibilities regarding the Straits of Hormuz.
Well, let's talk about some of those possibilities, because 1,000 American soldiers, they're heading towards the region. They could be there as early as Friday. But a big question is still to do what exactly? Will they hold off on the sidelines until these talks actually come to fruition? Or once they come to the region, will they be expected to complete operations immediately?
So there were over 50,000 troops, American troops, throughout the Middle East. We have 2 Marine contingents that are thousands of soldiers. There's now possibly another few thousand from the 82nd Airborne Paratroopers. Many of these are special forces that are not meant to go in and hold territory, but to go in and do something. So what are the things that they can do? Well, you have the 440 kilograms of enriched uranium, 60%. That could be, if there is centrifuges, they could, within 10 days, turn into 10 nuclear weapons grade uranium. You have the Straits of Hormuz. You have islands all dotted throughout the Straits of Hormuz and all the areas on the border on the shore of the Straits of Hormuz to take over. There could be drone bases, there could be fast missile ship bases to go after. And then people also talk about Karg Island. Karg Island is 400 kilometers north of the Straits of Hormuz, and that is where the vast majority of their oil fossil fuels come out of. And that is another possibility. So right now, again, with boots on the ground, that is kind of a dividing line for America when they hear that you're crossing the Rubicon, so to speak. And that is why I go back that the president really needs to lay out our core strategic interests here, and that we have a vision for success. And what does that mean? And it also is going to mean to tell the American people to be patient, because as Mike talked about in talking to Congress, what are they saying? They're getting given a $200 billion bill just to restock munitions and other supplies for our troops and our allies. And there is getting a lot of pushback, including from Republicans.
Well, Eric, how can the U.S. president better get that message across? Because the messaging is out there. This is a regime that for 47 years has been killing Americans. This is a regime that tried to assassinate the U.S. president himself. This is a regime that they say death to America and death to Israel. The messaging is out there. So why is the U.S. public not listening? And how can the U.S. president actually get that across?
So, the message is there should be there, but unfortunately, we live in a polarized time in the states. Only 8% of Democrats are in support of this war. Only 30% of independents. The Republicans are still standing strong with the president. Again, I think the messaging needs to come out from the president directly in an address to the American people. And I think his point person should be Marco Rubio. I used to work with some people in his office, and they are really top-notch. They, more than anybody else in the administration, really understands who Iran is, how Iran basically fabricates things and manipulates. They understand if there's going to be a negotiation, that the Secretary of State should be there and also outlining that message to Congress and to the world and helping the president with the American people. I think a lot here has to be explaining what's going on, because I think when the president from day to day changes as an unconventional president, it confuses people who want to be supportive, people who know that there are thousands of American soldiers and civilians who have been injured, killed, traumatic stress over many, many years, that this is the DNA of what the Iranian regime is, and to remind Americans that the Iranian people are going to be our best allies, second to Israel, if there is regime change for the better.
Eric Mandel, great to have you with us on I-24 News as always. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nicole.
Well, until a deal